Michael Jordan, we know, one of the greatest competitors in the history of sports, not one to acknowledge that he might not be able to handle something. But Cigar Aficionado just made public a fuller transcript of the interview that they published back in 2017. And the additional comments included some interesting perspective on the social media era. Now, at the time, Jordan told Cigar Aficionado he's making a comparison between Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, how you could really not compare players between eras. Gee, I wonder who he was really talking about. And he said that Tiger played at his peak somewhere toward the end of my career. He said, then what changed from that time frame to now is social media, Twitter, and all those types of things. And that has invaded the personalities and personal time of individuals. For someone like myself, and this is what Tiger deals with, he said, I don't know if I could have survived in this Twitter era where you don't have the privacy that you'd want, and what seems to be very innocent can always be misinterpreted. So, Matt, first of all, that's an interesting acknowledgement from MJ that anything is harder now than when he played, right? Because, of course, the defenses were harder and the hand checking was harder and he walked uphill both ways to school and all of that stuff. How do you
true,
think,
by the way.
Yeah, clearly. How do you think MJ would have fared in the social media era? As someone, by the way, you saw everything really change while you were playing.
Absolutely. It would have been tough. It's definitely a different time now. Social media has been the greatest gift you could say we've had, and one of the biggest curses we have. And one of the reasons why it's the biggest curse because it gives a lot of idiots voices. And a lot of negative people with a lot of negative energy will just say random stuff they would never say to your face. Mm-hmm. So I think if MJ played in this era, he would have been more closed off than he already was, and he was already really closed off. So, everything is about timing. Luckily, he didn't have to deal with it, but it's a real issue that people don't really understand how much hate and negativity weighs into social media. People always want to jump on Kevin Durant for responding and firing back, but I understand because, negativity, death threats, you're talking about your kids, your ex-wife, you name it, there's nothing off limits because you're not held accountable because you're behind the computer, behind the phone. So I completely understand where MJ is coming from.
I'm a little torn here because on the one hand, I like to imagine MJ is so cool and was so cool. He wouldn't even be on Twitter. Who cares? He wouldn't even see anything on Twitter. And so what? You snap a photo of MJ at a casino at 2:45 in the morning having a whiskey. Guess what? He hangs 50 on your team the next day, so it doesn't even matter. Then again, would he have a whole team of branding and advertising people forcing him to be on Twitter and Instagram and ruining his life by putting him on social media? Bottom line, MJ would be fine. This is Michael Jordan. He survived the bad boys fouling him. He survived Bill Laimbeer. He survived social media. It's Michael Jordan.
He still would have been a killer. I'm just saying it's just a different time, obviously.
And it's acknowledging, and I appreciate that he's acknowledging this, and that sort of shows how he is still, he's a team owner. He is still very current in the game and what's going on. It's acknowledging that it is an extra layer to deal with. Look, we saw the most dramatic example of it. It's not Kevin Durant answering Twitter followers. It's not the burner phones. It's not what has gotten, say, former general managers in trouble. LeBron James, during the 2011 finals, was subject and heard and let in so much noise that he now has acknowledged it affected his performance and then went to the length of turning off all of his phones and social media for the next 5 or 6 years during the playoffs. It is something to navigate. It is interesting to me to see Jordan recognize that. The whole interview is great. It's definitely worth checking out. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.